Hey everyone, today I am back from NAIC, my first international championships that I have attended, and I want to talk a little bit about my tournament experience, my run, my day two, which was not as what I expected it to be. I did manage to win some stuff there though, which I will talk about as well, and just kind of talk a little bit about my season in general here. This was the first season that I felt like I really kind of like started going to stuff. For those of you that don't know, I started learning the TCG like towards the very end of 2023, I believe. So like whenever Obsidian Flame kind of came out around that time frame is when I started like learning it. I started with Lost Zone back then, and that first kind of season I just went to some locals and stuff like that, nothing crazy. But this was the first season where I actively tried to go to some stuff. I went to 2 regionals and then also NAIC. I tried to max out my locals. I was pretty close. I got like 3 first place finishes in cups and challenges. So I was pretty close to maxing those out as well. So I did get the Ace Trainer reward. And overall, I would say it was a pretty successful season. I didn't qualify for Worlds, but I did finish with, I think, 387 championship points, something like that. I was nowhere near like maxing out my major tournaments or anything like that either. So I think overall, it was a pretty successful season. Managed to win some cups along the way and had a great time playing some Dragapults. Basically, the deck I've been on all season. I've had a couple tournaments where I played other stuff, but for the most part, this is the deck I have been riding with since basically last year. So had to cap it off with the Dragapult Dusknoir, of course. Even though it's not the best version of Dragapult right now, it's still one of the best for sure. And yeah, overall had a lot of fun in the tournament. This was my list right here. I decided to change some stuff up from my previous list that I won the cup with. I made a video about that one, but I did go back down to 2 Crushing Hammers instead of 3 with this list. If I had to change something about this list, I would change that. I think Crushing Hammers were very impactful when they hit. I'd say they hit pretty often throughout my tournament run. I can't really complain about my luck with that. And I did add that Jamming Tower. Based on what I hit in the tournament, I would cut that Jamming Tower for a 3rd hammer. My theory, behind this, the reason why I wanted the Jamming Tower was because I wanted a 3rd stadium, just with kind of how some of these decks like Alakazam are running multiple stadiums. Just wanted to have that 3rd stadium bump, and I figured that Jamming Tower would be a good option to deal with things like Garchomp, to deal with things like Crustle, and then also Alakazam with the handheld fan. I didn't hit any of those in my actual tournament runs, so it was pretty useless for me for that. But I would probably just cut it for another Crushing Hammer. I think that's a little bit more useful all the way around. So overall, was pretty happy with the list. Can't really complain. It felt okay playing no rare candies. I never really missed the rare candies. I'll kind of talk about why that is. We can take a look here. I ended up getting 872nd place. I ended up going 4-2-2, so I was 1 win away from making day 2. The tournament run started pretty interesting, I would say. So let's just go ahead and jump into it and talk about it. As you can see on my screen here, there's a lot of Dragapults. Out of the 8 rounds, I hit 5 Dragapults. So, I guess it's kind of what I expected, with it being about 50% of the meta share in day 2. So it makes a lot of sense that I hit a lot of Dragapults. The mirror match, I don't hate it necessarily. It's just like I like when there's a little bit more of a diverse meta, like you're not hitting the mirror every single round. So I do kind of not like that about this format. But let's go ahead and talk about these matches here. So my round 1 here, I was up against a Mewtwo player, and this was an interesting one because I managed to win game 1, and then right after game 1 we got deck checked. Like some judges came by and they were like, okay, we need your decks. So it was kind of weird that like we played a full game and then we had to pause to like do a deck check. But that's besides the point. Overall, this felt pretty good, this matchup. I feel pretty good against Mewtwo, honestly. I know with like a straight pull, it can kind of be a problem with like Clefairy, Mewtwo, you're not able to really one-shot it and stuff like that. I feel like Dusknoir kind of fixes a lot of those problems, and I also think Crushing Hammer helps a lot whenever you're able to get those Team Rocket's energies off the Pokemon. It's definitely super helpful. So overall, felt pretty good. I feel like with Dusknoir, you're able to just pop it on an Articuno and be able to Phantom Dive, pretty freely. And I think in this matchup specifically, you want to kind of wait to evolve into Dragapult, just kind of keep that 1 prize board state until you're ready to swing. And then once you can kind of go for a board wipe, that's where you just basically go for it there. So overall, both games felt pretty good from what I remember. I won this one 2-0, and it was pretty smooth overall, so can't really complain about this one. After that, we hit Ryan Antonucci, a very good player, has won a regional before, has multiple cash finishes as well. He ended up finishing 9-3-2, so I ended up getting 153rd, not too shabby at all. This was an interesting deck choice. It was Dragapult obviously with hammers, but he played the Relo and the Rapska. He never actually got it set up against me. There was one game he tried to set it up, but I was able to get rid of it. I think I popped a Dusclops to get rid of it and knock it out early, if I remember correctly. With this one, it was kind of back and forth. I ended up losing game 1, and then game 2 I ended up winning. We went to game 3, we were close to finishing it, but I wasn't able to finish it out. And it was really unfortunate because I think had we had a few more turns, I think I could have actually won the set. You know, I was pretty much in a spot at the end of the game where all I needed was 2 prizes to win the game. And he had like a damaged Dragapult and I think a damaged Pheasantipede on the board. So both within 1-shot range of a Phantom Dive. He also had a Monkey Dory. And then on his last turn in time, he pushed up the Monkey Dory. So then it was my turn. And I had no more boss's orders because I had to burn them early on in the game, so I had no way to boss around the monkey, and I had no way to take 2 prizes on my last turn, so it unfortunately was a tie. And I think I could have won this one with how it went, but he also had a few outs as well to kind of win it on his sides too, so I'm not sure how it would have played out. I think I could have won it, but it did end up in a tie. So at this point, you know, 101, feeling pretty good, and then we hit Honchkrow. Now this is a matchup that I think Dragapult Dusknoir pretty favorably wins. You just have a lot of ways to just deal with this deck. Like if you're not playing Dusknoir, it's a little bit more awkward at times because of Articuno, but with Dusknoir you can just pop it on Articuno and go for a big board wipe. You know, if they have multiple Articunos down, then you can use that to basically pop it on another Murkrow, another Honchkrow, another Porygon, whatever, and just still wipe multiple prizes off the board. So I think Dusknoir fixes, again, a lot of these problems. That's how I feel about like all these kind of like matchups in the field. I think Dusknoir fixes a lot of those problems. This one felt very unfortunate for me. Game 1 was a Pheasantipede attach and pass start to my game, and he started Porygon, and then he attached an energy to like a benched Murkrow. And once he did that, I realized, I was like, well, I have a Crispin in hand. I can just go for the Cruel Arrow play. So that's what I did. I Crispined, I Cruel Arrowed, and I just started picking off the Murkrows off the bench. He had no way to like attach to the active and also retreat and attack essentially because he wasted that first turn attachment on a benched Murkrow. He had no way to kind of attach 2 energies in one turn. He didn't find the air balloon on, early on or anything like that either. So I was able to just kind of snipe, and I think I took 3 or 4 prizes with Pheasantipede, something like that. And then by the time like he was able to kind of deal with the Pheasantipede, I was able to get a Dragapult set up, so I was able to close out the game there. So then we go on to game 2, and game 2 was a longer game. I remember, I think there was maybe 20 minutes left or 15 minutes left in the round, something like that. And he had a pretty set up board, and so did I. And I had set up a play where basically if I could pop Dusknoir on the Articuno, I think I could punch into the active and then also knock out like a benched Murkrow or a Porygon, something like that. And so then I did my deck search, and this was like way late in the game, and I realized that Dusknoir was prized, and I realized I had no way to knock out the Articuno, no way to spread the damage, basically no way to like set up the play that I was trying to set up earlier on, so I should have prize checked better. I decided to keep playing it out instead of scooping because I still felt like I had a pretty good shot of winning the game. And in the end, I think I went for like a red card towards the end of the game or an unfair stamp, something like that. And they were basically able to kind of draw into enough supporters to knock out my last Dragapults. They pulled off the Miracle Headset, all that kind of stuff. And at this point, there was only like 5 minutes left in the round, so we had no way to finish game 3. So we ended up with another tie, which was kind of unfortunate because it felt like I was kind of dominating both games, I would say. And then I just ended up kind of losing it there at the end. So unfortunate start to the tournament. And I knew I had to lock in. I knew I could only afford one more loss or tie to be able to basically advance into day 2. After that, I hit another Dragapult. And I will say, out of my 2 losses and 2 ties, this one, like, for sure, like, it felt like a loss to me. Like, I kind of just felt like I got outplayed both games. And I also felt like my opponent kind of set up better than I did both games. I wasn't really expecting the Sparkling Crystal either. And so, like, I saw it. I think I saw it late in game 1. I think that's when I saw. I don't remember exactly. I played like a lot of Pokemon over the weekend, so my apologies for that. But this one I do know. Both games, I felt like I was kind of in it for the most part, and then towards the end of both games, they were able to kind of like pull away and just kind of win. So especially game 2, I was really trying to force the tie and win, game 2, just because I knew like if I tied that round, I could basically still technically go 4-0-4 and qualify for day 2. So I just wanted to have that possibility since I already had 2 ties. So I was like, okay, if I tie here, it's not the end of the world. I can still get 1 more tie, and then I need 3 wins. But they were able to close it out and get 2 wins. And they actually did make it day 2, and I believe they went 4-0-4. Yeah, so they actually did go with the 4-0-4 after beating me. So kind of cool to see that. And yeah, they played some Dragapult, you know, nothing too crazy here aside from the Sparkling Crystal. It makes sense to kind of deal with things like Crushing Hammer. You play Crystal instead. That way you don't have to kind of deal with it getting removed. So it makes a lot of sense. After that, I did hit Hydrapple, the last non-Dragapult deck of the day. This one was a best of 3 that went all 3 games. Game 3 we didn't have a whole lot of time for, but I was able to close it out because they benched some of those weaker, like 2-price Pokemon, like Meowth. I think they benched Serendipity as well. I know one of these games I like punched into Serendipity and I kind of left the damage on board. Like I kind of just spread damage and kind of set up for like big knockouts instead of just focusing on taking early prizes, which is typically what you should do as Dragapult Dusknoir. Just kind of spread that damage and then set up for those knockouts later on. This one felt pretty good overall. I feel pretty good into this matchup, honestly. I think, again, Dusknoir fixes a lot of the problems that you kind of have against these different types of decks, you know? Being able to one-shot Hydrapple is really nice. Being able to put 130 on Meowth and knock it out with Phantom Dive damage is also very nice. So you can go for a lot of cool plays with the Dragapult Dusknoir, and I think it does really well into this matchup, honestly. And after that, we hit another Dragapult. This was a Dragapult with the Dunsparce. Honestly, I thought it was a heavier line of Dunsparce because it kind of felt like that was the only thing you were able to set up. I felt really bad for this one because they just were not really able to play the game. It was one of those where like they just couldn't get set up, you know. Both games went pretty fast. I was able to get set up like instantly, you know. I'm talking like go first, like double Buddy Poffin, you know, just kind of get the full setup going. They have like attached pass over on their side, so pretty standard like Dragapult mirror match stuff. Sometimes it happens, you get set up, sometimes you don't. So overall pretty smooth round for me. And after that we had our round 7 loss, which officially knocked me out of day 2 contention. I've got to say though, this was my favorite set of the entire tournament, despite me losing, obviously. I'm seeing right here they had a pretty rough go in day 2, which is unfortunate, but this was a really fun set overall. It went 3 games. We finished all 3 games within time with Dragapult mirror matches, which is crazy to say, right? And all 3 matches felt pretty close overall. I won game 1, I lost game 2, and then for game 3, I basically played to all my outs. It felt like my active Dragapult had a bunch of damage on it within 1-shot range. They have a Dracloak left on their side with, I think, no energies attached. Yeah, no energies attached. I go for the red card play, and basically they have to find Dragapult and also Rose's Encouragement or Crispin to get the energies. You know, they play out their turn, they're on their last recon directive, they find the Rose's Encouragement, and they win the game. So overall, it felt pretty good. I felt like I played to my outset last game and just wasn't able to pull it off. They found the 1 card they needed, and it happens, you know. That's how it goes. I mean, Dragapult is a consistent deck, you know, so I know when I play against people, they're like, man, Dragapult always has it, and it's true, they do. So I kind of figured, you know, I was like, let me just set up here and you know, go for the red card play, really kind of play to my outs here, go aggressive, take the knockout, and just kind of hope they don't have it. And unfortunately for me, they did. So they were able to close it out, and I'm happy that they made day 2, because it always feels bad when you get knocked out late in the tournament and then your opponent doesn't make day 2. So I was really happy for him for making it into day 2. Even though it seems like it didn't go that well, it's still always good to make it into day 2. So very happy about that for him. And then we had our last round of the day. Decided to go ahead and play it out because why not? It's the final round of the tournament. We went up against, you guessed it, Dragapult once again. Crushing Hammers build. This one was just a fun time. Like honestly, whenever you get knocked out of this tournament, like those are the fun rounds, it feels like, because yeah, you're still playing to win, but it's just that stress that like that I can't lose, you know what I mean, is just kind of gone, so you can have a little bit more fun with it. So my opponent was really cool. We had some fun back and forth with Crushing Hammers, flips. They had a bunch of tails on their hammers. I even went for a Monkey Dory Confusion to basically try to win the game, and it paid off because they flipped tails on that as well. So it definitely paid off for me, and I was able to win both games. I think I won this one too, if I remember correctly, and managed to win the last round. So overall, kind of disappointed with my run, I can't lie. I really wanted to make day 2 and just kind of see how far I could go, but I am happy that I was able to kind of close it out and be within 1 win from making day 2. You know, I had a pretty rough start to the tournaments after round 1. Just had a couple of ties that I felt like, you know, if I would have played faster maybe, or if I would have scooped earlier or done this differently, maybe I could have won. That's kind of how I felt about that round 7 loss as well. Like I said, round 4, I just feel like I flat out lost, so I just got outplayed there. But the other 3, like, they felt like they were very winnable, so it's kind of disappointing when you have those rounds that you feel like you could have won and you didn't, you know. But I take this as a learning lesson. I always think that, you know, your losses you learn a lot from, and I think that as you play more tournaments, play against more people, you play against more decks, you definitely learn a lot in how to play. So I definitely feel like I'm getting better and I'm improving. Looking forward to next season as well. I'm going to really try to chase that Worlds invite if possible. We're going to see where all the regionals get announced. NAIC next year is going to be in Chicago, so I'll definitely try to be there as well. And hopefully we can get that Worlds invitation. Who knows? I finished the season, I think I checked, at 555th place, having only been to 2 regionals and 1 international. So we'll see how that changes next year if I'm able to go to some more stuff. It's not all sad though, because I did enter the side event tournament for day 2. So basically, for those that didn't qualify for day 2, they had a giant like side event tournament for standard format. 700 people signed up, a little over 700 people, and first place would win a Switch 2. There was also pricing through like top 16, and then if you got at least 5 wins, you got 300 prize points, which gets you 30 booster packs, so basically a booster box. So the goal here was to make it into top 8. It was a clean top 8, so no asymmetrical cut. And after doing the math, we figured out you had to go 9-1 to guarantee it. You could possibly go 8-1-1 to get into top 8, but it was not guaranteed. So this one was a fun tournament. It was best of 1. I played against all the rogue stuff, as you can see here. Had some very close rounds that I definitely felt like I was gonna lose, but we were able to come back in some of these. Slow King being one of them. I was down 6 prizes to 1 in this matchup, and I managed to come back with Cruel Arrow. This one against the Trevenants, I prized 3 Jacloaks, but I was able to just kind of unfair stamp early and get 1 Dragapult set up and start taking knockouts. So I had a lot of like really close sets here, and it was really cool getting to play against different decks that were not Dragapult until later on in the tournament. Round 7, I was almost able to kind of donk my opponent because they just had 1 Gabite in play, and I had like a Dusclops on board. I just needed to find Crispin, and I couldn't find it, so they were able to kind of get set up after that and just kind of start running away with it. Jamming Tower did not help me because they played 4 stadiums. And then in my round 10, I played up against like the slot box kind of deck, and for this one, I was saying it all tournament. I was like, man, I like never prize me out, and then I ended up going second here, and I have like 1 GP on board. My hands full of like stuff that I don't want to discard. I've got like energies, like boss's orders, I think, just stuff that I don't want to discard. And I had a Pokepad and an Ultra Ball. And I decided to Ultra Ball my Pokepad away, which I shouldn't have done. I should have Pokepad it first, but I was like, let me just grab Meowth, and then I can Lilies, and I can kind of draw into what I need. And surely it was prized. So from that point on, I was just kind of shocked. Like, I think even if I would have went for the Pokepad first and kind of, you know, gone that route, I think regardless, me not having Meowth definitely hurt me a lot there, because by turn 2, they were able to just start knocking me out, and I wasn't able to catch back up after that. So it was unfortunate. I finished 8-2. And I finished 13th place at about 700 people. I ended up getting 48 booster packs, so I can't complain with that. And yeah, it was really cool just getting to play a full tournament the next day. Like, it's like I didn't even miss playing day 2. Like, I was having a good time, you know what I mean? It was a fun tournament, so it was best of 1, getting to play different decks and stuff like that. You know, very exciting. So overall, very fun experience. Shout out to everybody that came up to me and said hi, that watched the channel and everything. Very cool getting to meet some people there as well. This summer I plan to play some different decks. I'm kind of like retiring from Dragapult right now until the next competitive season. Like, it's the off season, I don't want to play Dragapult, so I'm gonna be playing some fun decks and just kind of learning more decks within the meta. And yeah, we'll see. I'll plan on streaming some more. I'm doing some more videos, more content this summer. I'm just gonna kind of lock in and focus on that while we are in the off season. And then once that season resets, we're going to just try to grind for points and see what happens. So hopefully you guys stay tuned for that. If you guys enjoyed this one, let me know how you guys did at NAIC in the comments if you went. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.